Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another episode of my FM21 save with Ajax. As I did last episode, we're gonna show a couple of youth players that are close to the first team again. I'm gonna pick three. I've already picked them, but I'm gonna show you guys three players that I think are close. So the first one is Luis Peña or Pena. I'm not sure. There's not that wave on the end. I don't know what that's called, but there's not that little wave on the end. So I don't think it's Peña, but maybe Pena or Pina, but I'm still gonna pronounce it Peña. So as you can see, he's a Portuguese right winger slash striker, but we mostly play him at right winger. He has already made 2 appearances off the bench this season for the first team and 1 in the Dutch Cup. And in total for us, he has made 5 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist, 1 player of the match, and for Young Ajax, 7 appearances and 8 goals. So we bought him for 750,000 euros from Sporting Lisbon in the season 2022-2023, and as you can see, he's now already worth 6.25 million euros. So you could say he has been progressing pretty well. So he is 18 years old. He already has 10 caps for the under 21 squad for Portugal and 4 goals also. Let me just see. He's nowhere near gaining Dutch nationality, so he's probably going to make his first team appearance for Portugal before he can change his nationality to Dutch. But this is Luis Peña or Pena or Pina or whatever it is. So let's move straight on to the next one. And the next one is the player that was right below him in that list in the development center. And that is Heiko Kirsten, another 18-year-old, this time a German. Also 14 under 21 caps already and 3 goals. A center mid. Look at it. He is so well rounded. It is absolutely insane for an 18-year-old, these attributes already. So we have only used him once, but he has played 9 matches in the Keukenkampioen-divisie for Young Ajax. And he's played 4 games in the under 21 European Championship qualifying games. So in total, he's played 2 games for us and 9 for Young Ajax, in which he scored 3 goals and got 2 assists and 1 player of the match. So he's been doing okay. We bought him for 6 million in 21-22 from Hoffenheim, and he is now worth about half, a little bit more than half. He's worth 3.9. So his value is lower than what we bought him for, but I still think he is more than deserving of that transfer fee, because he's gonna grow into something amazing. I can already tell, because he has only played 1 game for us this season, but that's gonna be more, I believe, to the end of the season. Of course, depending on how the league is looking. So let's move on to the third and final player for this episode, and that is gonna be not a player that is actually at all in the first team candidates. It is, we're probably not gonna find him if we look him up like this, because that is actually his full name. There he is. He is a defensive mid or center mid. He is a 17-year-old Chinese player who we bought from Real Madrid for 1.5 million, already worth 3.4. But the craziest thing about him are not his attributes, is not the money, not the fact that we got him from Real Madrid. It's the fact that he's only 17 years old and he's already made 14 appearances for the Chinese senior national squad. And that is absolutely insane. He got his first appearance when he was 16. And that is exactly the point where I started to take a closer look at him. Also played 1 game this season and got an assist in that. And 2 games in total, so 1 game last season in which he actually scored a goal. So he's been doing okay for us. He hasn't played for Young Ajax. He is still playing for the under-18s. Crazy that an under-18s player for us is already good enough to be in his nation's national squad. Another sign of how good our youth facilities are and how good our youth players are. So I'm gonna take you guys to the schedule. And there is a little minus point in there, and you probably already see it. After we beat Utrecht 2-1 away from home, we got knocked out of the cup by Excelsior. I can't believe that actually happened. As you can see, we didn't even fully rotate our squad, and I just don't know how this happened. 3-1. I mean, they actually took the lead after which we immediately equalized, but then they scored twice near the end of the game, and I'm speechless. I mean, that's unacceptable, and we're knocked out of the cup in the second round. I don't know how that can happen after we beat Red Bull Salzburg 9-1, and then to lose against a second division side 3-1 is unbelievable. Luckily, we then came straight back with a 2-1 win over PEC Zwolle, a 6-2 win over Twente, and a 3-0 win over Groningen. As you can see, that new higher capacity stadium is already paying off, because twice in a row we have had more than 57,000 supporters in the stands, which is good, which is what we want, of course. So we're here today for the games against Sparta and Willem II. And of course, the draw for the Champions League has happened. You've probably already seen it. We're playing Juventus. I'm gonna be honest, it's probably because we finished in second in the group stage, but we could have had an easier draw. They are in first in the Serie A. They've only lost once and drawn once, and they are 3 points above the number 2. Technically 2, but Atalanta have played a game more, so 3 points above number 2. They have won the league last season after Inter won it twice in a row, but they are on a very good run of form. Let's look at their schedule. Look at that. Look at that. That is unbelievable. And what do we have? We have also 1 drawn and 1 lost. So it's not too bad. We're not too different in that aspect. But of course, the quality of the Serie A is a little bit higher than the quality of the Eredivisie. So before I go on to other things, let's get straight into the match. One thing that I am going to mention before the match starts is Lucas Verissimo has moved on to Guangzhou Evergrande. We sold him for 39 million euros after we bought him for 22 3 years ago. The crazy thing is that we got an offer for 39 million, and I thought, well, I'm not going to accept that because I think we can get way more for him. I was hoping around 50. So I offered him out for 50 million euros. So then the email came back saying, well, there's not enough interest to buy him for 50 million euros. By the way, I'm going to tell this story after we go into the match. Otherwise, it will just take too long. So there we go. This is going to be the I hate when it starts all the way down that list. I mean, maybe we have too many players, but this is going to be the first 11. It's Onana, Frimpong, Markovic, Guardiola and Rensch, Stamenic, Kudus, Anthony, Asensio, Traore and Dolberg. There are going to be the 11 players starting for us. And apparently we have a debutant on the bench, Guy Quadio, a 17-year-old Ivorian. Maybe going to make his debut today. I'm not sure yet. But, yeah, what I was talking about, Lucas Verissimo. So we offered him out, and the email said exactly this. I'm not going to recite it word for word, but it was something in the lines of there are no teams interested enough to pay 50 million euros for him, and then it always shows a couple of clubs that are interested but have their reasons for not making an offer. So there were 1 or 2 clubs that said, well, we just can't pay his wages, which was fair because he was on 60k a week, I believe. But then there were 3 or 4 teams, and what it said was that, well, we're interested in, and they were also Chinese teams. So he's now gone to China, but those clubs that I'm going to talk about right now were also Chinese teams. So it said the names of the 3 clubs were interested. As we go down to Sparta, what is going on? Oh, of course, we're on the wrong tactic. How can that happen? Let's go straight to this one. So these 3 teams are interested, but they are not willing to pay more than 1.1 million euros, which didn't make any sense because his value was 39. So it said we're not thinking about paying more than 1.1 million, and I was sitting there scratching my head like, how am I ever gonna sell this guy if they don't want to pay more than 1/39th of his actual value, as Emmanuel Emega makes it 2-0, and we're gonna have to do way better than this. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why the players aren't working in the way they're supposed to. Hopefully we'll come back from this. Of course, we have the entire second half to do so, but we're gonna have to do it quickly. Maybe here we have our first chance. Anthony can't even go past his opponent. Come on, guys. It's freaking Sparta. It's not Barcelona. There we go. No, he hit the post. And there we go. Anthony with his 10th goal. Alright, 2-1. It is still pretty bad, but it could be worse. So, that was that. And then we got the email that you wait for every season again and again and again. It was the youth intake preview as we lose the ball, and they're probably going to make 3-1 here. Let me see, Patrick Joosten, and alright, he misses it horribly. And there is halftime whistle. But we got the email for the youth intake preview. So, the one where you always see the pluses and the minuses about the coming youth intake. So, we had 3 positive points, and we had 8 negative points. The 3 positives were about our forward players, wingbacks, and strikers. So, forward players and strikers are pretty much the same damn thing. So, actually only 2 positive points. Then moving on to the negatives. No good defensive mids, no good attacking mids, no good goalkeepers, no good fullbacks, no good center backs, no good wide midfielders, and no good wingers. And now I hear you thinking, well, that's only 7. What is the 8th one? Well, after I make these subs, I'm going to read it out to you, exactly what it was. So, let's make 2 subs for now. And berate the players, because we still are behind against Sparta, which is still unacceptable. But it said, don't expect too much from this youth intake. So, I was felt pretty down after that, because the youth intake every season is something that you really look forward to. And then when you get the email already 3 months in advance saying that you don't really need to look forward to this one, then it's a blow. And then I took a look, and our youth facilities are at the highest possible level. Our training facilities are at the highest possible level. And our youth recruitment is at the highest possible level. How did that ball not go in? How did we not score that? So I believe we still have to go through that attacking tactic right here. As we are still behind. Asensio is not playing well, so let's get Neres on for him. Let's also, besides that, go very attacking, go all out attacking, and hope for the best, because this is still unacceptable. So here we go, 5 minutes left, and it's not going to happen, is it? It is just not going to happen. Maybe now Anthony with a corner kick, they clear it, Anthony could bring it back in, he does, Neres! But a good save, and it's still 2-1 to Sparta. They get another yellow card, and that's the end of the game. I cannot believe that has just happened. That is absolutely unbelievable. We are still in first, but PSV could close the gap to only 2 points, which is disappointing. So I'm going to see you guys in just a second for not only the game against FM21, but also, of course, we have then had the transfer window deadline. So I'm going to see you guys in a second. And we're on the day of the game against FM21 at home, which we should win, but we should have won against Sparta too. So, well, you never know what's going to happen in a game of Football Manager. So let's hope that we can actually get the win today. But first, let me show you the other transfers that have happened. The transfer deadline is gone. So the youth players that have gone are Jermumi, Timo Jansen, Rafael Starfo, Prince Anning. Who else is in there? Nobody. So a lot of loans. Then we sold Victor Jensen to Utrecht for 1.1 million. We sold Per Schuurs to Osasuna for 9 million. Of course, Verissimo I talked about. Victor Kornienko to AZ for 11.25 million euros, and Olivier Batista Meyer for to Karlsruhe for 5 million. That could go up to 7.25. So a lot of good money brought in for players that we didn't use. Per Schuurs is one of the players that was at the club at the beginning of the save. I was hoping and expecting him to grow into something amazing, but I think I didn't give him enough game time to get where he needs to be to have the quality to actually play for us. So he is gone. Sadly, he wasn't sold to another Dutch club. Kornienko he is sold to AZ, so we still have brought in one player to another Dutch club. So those were all the sales. Then you see all the players that we bought. There's only one player that really stands out from the players I've selected. Of course, the other players were in August. A lot of players are youth players, even though we did pay a lot of money for them. And actually, the only player that wasn't a youth player is the player that we paid the least amount of money for. And that is Gianluigi Buffon. We bought him from Feyenoord, from freaking Feyenoord, who we of course are playing every season in our Puskas save that we're doing at the same time. But look at his mentals, and his goalkeeping attributes are still as high as ever. Well, not really as high as ever, but it's still looking really, really good. He is 46 years old, but I saw him that his contract was running out, and I just had to at least try it. He is on only 2.5k a week. I mean, that is nothing for a club like Ajax. So I'm very happy to get him into the club, so he can maybe be in the goal for a couple of games. At least one. I'm at least going to use him once, of course. You know what? Let's use him today, actually, against FM21. Let's do that. But of course, I'm hoping that he will become a coach in the future after he retires. So, speaking of coaches, I have something to tell about that, but I will do that during the game. So this is going to be the team, but of course, as I just said, except instead of Onana, where is Buffon? There is Buffon. He is our second worst rated goalkeeper. But I mean, it's Buffon. You have to use him if you have him, right? So it's Buffon, Frimpong, Markovic, Guardiola, and Range, Kudus, Gravenberg, Neres, Asensio, Traoré, and Anthony. So let's actually swap that around a little bit. Let's use Eriksen instead of Asensio. Who else is concerned about his game time? Van de Beek instead of Kudus. Alderweireld instead of Markovic. Kluivert instead of Neres. I think that's going to be it. We also don't want to rotate too much because then, of course, something like what happened against Sparta could happen again here today. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. And let's just get straight into the game. Give Gianluigi Buffon his first minutes for the club. What number? He wants number 1. Well, let's give him number 1. Wait, what? Lassina Traoré has number 2. Alright. Thanks, FM, for giving my striker number 2. So let's get into the game. I mean, I'm not too bothered by players having not the right number, so to say. But I do think it's odd that our striker got number 2. Eric says number 6, but that is to be understood. He came in the club later than the others. Other than that, no real weird numbers in there. Except for Alderweireld using number 14. If I would have seen that, I would have definitely not allowed that. Because in the previous FMs, number 14 actually wasn't available for choice. Because of course that's Johan Cruijff's number and that jersey is retired at Ajax. But for some reason, Toby Alderweireld has received kit number 14. That's odd. Alright, but let's get straight into the game against FM21. And we are now using the attacking tactic because we're playing at home against a team that's way worse than we are. So it should work. Touch wood. You never know. Again, watch what happened against Sparta just a few moments ago. And of course, against Excelsior a couple of weeks ago. And Sparta are actually, FM21 are actually on the attack here. Yeboah to Romero. And what? How do FM21 have Maximiliano Romero from PSV? How did they get him? And how are we behind again? Doesn't make any... It's not even... It wasn't even 5 minutes in. I've already shouted at the players, but it doesn't work until the 10th minute. But I didn't expect it to be this early in the game still. Let's see. Can we equalize Anthony? There we go. Alright, now push on. So, the things that I want to talk about. First off, as I said about the staff. I was looking... I was asking the board if we could have a little bit more space for more coaches. And they said yes, eventually, as Anthony makes it 2-1. Thank you, Anthony. And then I was thinking, well, you know, the kind of culture I want to create at this club, while they are not necessarily the best coaches out there, I want to get some ex-footballers, some real big names. So I believe we have got some big names in our staff. So for our coaches, we've brought in 2 new coaches. One is Jaap Stam, of course, ex-Ajax, ex-Man United as well. A very solid defender and hopefully a very solid coach. And besides him is Wayne Rooney, as Willem II get the equalizer again and it's back level. So I don't know what's going on in this game. Maybe we need to still switch to this version of the tactic, as Kluivert goes for it, but he doesn't make it. But yeah, Stam and Rooney are in our coaching staff, and as a scout we have brought in Patrick Kluivert. So we have Justin Kluivert on the pitch. Not right now. Yes, right now. We do have him on the pitch right now, and his dad as a scout. So I was actually trying to get some more in, but we didn't have any more room. So for now, it's only these 3. But maybe, hopefully in the future, we can get some more in. As Eriks is going to take the free kick. And that should have gone in. I swear, if we do not win this game, I actually don't believe how we're not leading this. So let's tell them I'm far from pleased. And let's start the second half. So the last thing that I want to mention for this episode is that a couple of our players got some awards. For instance, Lassina Traoré was named the African Footballer of the Year. And number 2 was Mohamed Salah. And number 3 was Sadio Mane. But number 1 was Lassina freaking Traoré. That's unbelievable. I'm really happy for him. And that again shows how much quality we have on the pitch. As Ryan Gravenberch makes it 3-2. Against Willem II. So not only was Traoré named the African Footballer of the Year, he was of course in the African Squad of the Year, the African Team of the Year. But besides him were Mohamed Kudus and Andre Onana were in there too. So 3 of our players named in the African Team of the Year, as Gravenberch scores his second and makes it 4-2. So that should be this game done and dusted. So let's actually make a few subs. Let's get some youth players out on there. Maybe they scored 2 goals because of Buffon. Could that be it? Could that actually be it? I hope not. Let's get Gravenberch off because he is on a yellow. Let's get him off for De Jonge. Let's get Grootvam on for Traoré because of course the game that I talk about him winning an award, he plays horribly. So let's get back to the first tactic to give Peña a better position, his better role, as he gets hopped on for Kluivert, and that's going to be it for the final 20 minutes. So the final award that our players have got is that QN, the Chinese player that I just showed you, the 17-year-old, actually got Asian Young Footballer of the Year. So again, another piece of evidence of our youth facilities and our youth players being some of the best in the world. And hopefully that will show in a couple of seasons time when they grow older too, that they will become the best players in the world. Not only the most promising players, but just straight up the best players in the world, as Donny van de Beek scores his first goal of the season in February and makes it 5-2. Granted, he hasn't been playing every game, so I'm not gonna blame him for not scoring more goals. But to only score his first goal, player of his quality, somewhat of a question mark can be put there. But he does make it 5-2 as the game is coming to an end, as Willem II, Maximiliano Romero scores his 11th of the season, almost as much as Anthony, makes it 5-3. Romero with a hat-trick. We don't even have a hat-trick. What is going on? Why are we conceding so many goals? I believe we just should have used that other tactic, the 4-4-2, not the 4-2-4. Maybe I'm even going to get rid of the 4-2-4 completely and use the 4-2-3-1 when we're playing at home and the 4-4-2 when we're playing away from home, or maybe the other way around. Whatever works best. But the final whistle has been blown and the game has ended in 5-3 win for us. So even though we conceded too many goals, we've picked up the 3 points, which is the most important thing, as we face Vitesse in a couple of days' time. And of course, that should still put us in first. There we go. As you can see right there. We are still 5 points ahead of Feyenoord, 5 points ahead of AZ and PSV. AZ having played one game more. And after Feyenoord, AZ, PSV, there's a gap of 12 points to FC Groningen. And look at the goal difference. We have got 46, then 27, 24, 23. And then it goes all the way down to 9. And look at those numbers. There are still 14 matches left, so in theory, anything can happen, except for apparently we cannot finish in last place anymore, which is crazy, 14 games before the end of the season. But that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't even need to tell you guys what the next episode is going to be. It is going to be Juventus, and let's do Feyenoord again. To make up to you guys for the amount of times that I haven't showed you the game against Feyenoord. Let's do the game against Feyenoord and Juventus, and then the episode after that will be Juventus and AZ. Because of course Feyenoord and AZ are both in the top 4. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm a little bit in doubt because we also have PSV in there. But I think I'm going to do it like that. So I'm going to see you guys for next episode very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe as well if you haven't already. And bye bye.